From putting Simo the Savage in his place for taking a dig at the 76ers, to an NBA legend offering some needed advice to the struggling player, here's how Stephen A. Smith destroyed Ben Simmons. Smith is absolutely fed up with sorry Ben Simmons. Yep, he really put Simmons in his place. You see, after the 76ers lost to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference semifinals, the 26-year-old who used to play for Philly took a sneaky little dig at his former team. He posted on his IG story, showing a glass of wine and the TV displaying Philadelphia's embarrassing blowout loss. Well, Stephen A. didn't hold back on the No Mercy podcast. And let me tell you, he didn't mince any words. He straight up called the guy a sorry, trifling ouch. Smith had actually tried to be nice to Fresh Prince before, giving him the benefit of the doubt, but no more. He couldn't believe that Simmons would talk about being a basketball player when he was so scared to actually play the game. And it doesn't stop there. Smith also expressed his disappointment in James Harden's performance and Joel Embiid's, but nothing even came close to his fiery rant about Simmons. Well, Stephen didn't hold back, and he made it crystal clear that he was done with Ben. It's strange to see how the mighty fall. You see, this is the same Simo the Savage, who was the top pick in the 2016 draft for the Philadelphia 76ers, and the guy had a pretty solid career from there. He earned 3 All-Star honors, was named to the All-Rookie team in 2017 to 2018, and even received 2 All-Defensive honors. Not too shabby, right? But things took a turn during the 2021 playoffs. Big Ben's performance took a huge dip, especially against the Atlanta Hawks, who eventually knocked the Sixers out of the semifinal round. He struggled to score, averaging only 11.9 points per game, and his shooting skills on the court were far from impressive. It was a tough time for him. Then, during the following season, the 26-year-old sat out the entire year in Philadelphia, eagerly waiting for a move to a new team. He joined the Brooklyn Nets not soon after, but his first season with them didn't exactly go as planned. He played only 42 games, and his stats weren't anywhere close to what he achieved with the Sixers. He averaged 6.9 points, 6.1 assists, and 6.3 rebounds per game, which was far from the promising production he had shown before in his career. Now, here's where things get interesting. Benny has spoken about mental illness and therapy, mentioning that he needed to talk to people and seek help. Stephen A. Smith wasn't impressed with this at all. He felt that the Yank was using mental health as an excuse, especially because the guy brought it up himself. The 55-year-old also pointed out that the Yank had a list of other reasons for not playing, including back and knee injuries. But throughout all this, the guy never missed a paycheck. Smith found it ironic that old Benny would criticize James Harden and the 76ers, the very team he quit and left hanging. After all, as the first overall pick in the draft, he was supposed to help deliver a championship to Philadelphia. The sports commentator made it clear that if he ever saw Ben, he would give him a look of utter disappointment, whispering, "Sorry." That's how he feels about the whole situation. And it looks like basketball heads have similar thoughts on the whole situation. Some fans just can't help but shake their heads at Simo the Savage, saying that, if anything, the guy should be grateful to the Sixers. They're the ones who gave him that huge contract that set him up for life. One fan even said that this was like when a mediocre student makes fun of a top achiever just because they didn't score a perfect grade. And honestly, they have a point. How can Simmons have the nerve to call anyone out? But let's not forget about the fans who found some entertainment in Smith's rant. They absolutely loved when he said, "At least he ain't you." It hit hard. And the fact that it didn't need any explanation spoke volumes about Fresh Prince. Hey, one fan gave credit where it's due, saying that the tweet Stephen A. mentioned was probably the only shot Ben has taken in 3 years. Talk about shooting struggles, huh? For some fans, life just wouldn't be complete without Stephen A.'s epic rants. They can listen to him go off all day long. And hey, even as a Sixers fan, there are those who want to thank Stephen A. for keeping it real and sharing his honest thoughts about the team. And guess what? This isn't the only time Smith has dunked on Simo the Savage. You've got to check out what he had to say about Simmons on ESPN's NBA Countdown. The man didn't hold back, like, at all. According to Stephen A., Benny is practically robing the Brooklyn Nets with his lackluster performance. I guess he's picturing the guy wearing a ski mask and gloves, pulling off the heist of the century. But let's be real for a sec. With a contract that's going to balloon up to almost $40 million in 2024, Peacemaker is currently raking in $35.4 billion this season. But here's the kicker. Simmons had a real low point during a game against the Phoenix Suns. He got himself deliberately ejected in the third quarter. Smith thinks he just didn't feel like playing anymore. Ouch. It doesn't look good for the young socialite, and it's even worse for his team, the Nets. NBA analyst Jalen Rose seems to think that Ben Simmons is to blame. Ever since Kevin Durant got injured, it's been a rough ride for them. They went from being in second place in the Eastern Conference to slipping down to fourth, losing 4 games in a row. Talk about a downward spiral. Not only that, but their offensive rating, field goal, three-point, and free throw shooting percentages have also taken a nosedive. But here's where things get interesting. Jalen Rose recently made a claim that got fans fired up, pointing fingers at Big Ben. Now, Fresh Prince, who plays as a point guard for the Nets, has been in and out of the rotation due to some back issues. As a result, his performance on the court hasn't exactly been stellar, especially with the team struggling to win games without Durant. According to Rose, Ben Simmons is stealing money, a ski mask, and gloves. Ouch, that's harsh. Rose agreed with Stephen A. Smith's take on Simmons and even brought some stats to back it up. Apparently, Simmons has racked up 119 fouls while only scoring 113 baskets. Talk about a rough imbalance. So, it's safe to say that things aren't looking too bright for the Nets with Durant out, and Old Benny is facing criticism left and right from both NBA analysts and fans. It seems like fans were quick to jump on board with Rose's take on Simmons. One fan even tweeted that, "Paying a Walmart brand Draymond the max is outrageous. He's definitely stealing money." And the reactions on NBA Twitter were quite interesting to say the least. Some fans agreed wholeheartedly, saying things like, "Actually, he's right. I mean, the league has never been that patient with a player. I mean, he's got a point. The guy won Rookie of the Year in his second season, and people are still saying he needs more time." So it seems fans really think Fresh Prince should be ready by now. Others chimed in with comments like, "He isn't wrong. This dude is a Kmart Draymond," suggesting that Simmons is a knockoff version of Draymond Green. There were a few fans who defended the Yank, but there wasn't a lot. Most basketball heads agreed with Jalen's portrayal of Ben as a liability for his team. It's safe to say that the Wizard of Oz has been getting an insane amount of criticism. But wait, hold the phone, because there's this one guy who has shown some rare support to the battered player. In a surprising turn of events, NBA legend Kevin Garnett stepped up and showed some support for Big Ben. Garnett has spilled some golden advice for our man Simmons on the show, Ticket and the Truth. He expressed how he wants the player to reconnect with his roots and go back to those early days when basketball was his everything. It's like Garnett wants him to rediscover his old passion. But that's not all. Garnett also thinks Fresh Prince has so much more to offer the game. He said, "You've got a lot to give to the game, bro." And here's the real talk from the Big Ticket. He wants Simmons to step up and take responsibility. The NBA legend said, "It's going to be Ben Simmons, not his mom, not none of this collective around him. He wants Simmons to find his own path and actually own up to his potential." That's some tough love right there. According to Garnett, that's what it takes to make it in the NBA. It's clear this season was a tough one for Benny, but Garnett's words give hope. He's one of the few who are actually optimistic about the guy and believe he can bounce back. It's time for Peacemaker to hit the offseason and work on those weaknesses. The Big Ticket sees something in him. And who knows, maybe Simmons will surprise us all. So, from humbling the young socialite for dunking on the 76er loss, to NBA superstar telling the 26-year-old to take responsibility for his game, that's how Stephen A. Smith absolutely destroyed Ben Simmons.